Most A24 films nowadays are pretentious and insist upon themselves, but in the past, A24 has made some good movies, and their best one ever is The Spectacular Now. With a $3 million budget and majority of it being put up by the film's producer, you can't really tell it's a low-budget movie. It stars Miles Teller and Shailene Woodley, but the entire cast is stacked with greats like Brie Larson, Kyle Chandler, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Bob Odenkirk, and Andre Royo. The story the movie tells is beautiful. Sutter gets broken up with by his girlfriend Cassidy. He goes home and writes a college application supplement. In it, he says that his biggest hardship is getting dumped by Cassidy, and he then goes out to get drunk, which leads to him blacking out on a lawn. He's woken by Amy Finicky, and although they're in the same school year, Sutter doesn't recognize her. Since Amy was in the middle of her mom's paper route when waking Sutter up, he decides to join her so he can look for his car he lost. The next day, since Sutter needs help with school, he asks Amy to tutor him, and during the tutoring session, he learns a lot about Amy. The following day, Sutter takes her to a party, and there they go for a walk while drinking. She tells Sutter she's never drank before, never had a boyfriend, and doesn't think she's going to college since she has to take care of her mom. Sutter responds by telling Amy she's not responsible for her mom, and then proceeds to compliment and kiss her. The next morning, while hungover, Sutter remembers he asked Amy to prom at the party the day before, but while at school, he avoids Amy and later he goes to Cassidy's house. Together, they get drunk and reminisce, but Cassidy tells him they have no future together and asks Sutter to leave her house. A few days later, Sutter takes Amy to dinner at his sister Holly's house, and there Amy speaks about her dad dying from an overdose and how she dreams of a perfect marriage. Sutter and Amy's relationship gets more serious, and they end up having sex. Sutter also reveals his mom kicked out his dad when he was young and has forbidden Sutter from seeing his dad. Prom night then arrives, and Sutter with Amy go together. After the dance, Amy tells Sutter that she's going to college in Philadelphia near her sister, who will help her find an apartment and a job. Amy tells Sutter to join her and that he can go to community college, and Sutter hesitantly agrees. You can see in his face he doesn't really want to. Sutter then manages to get his father's number from his sister and calls his dad to meet and go to a baseball game. Sutter takes Amy with him to visit his dad, but once they meet with Sutter's dad, his dad is clearly under the influence and admits to Sutter that he forgot about their plans, so instead of a baseball game, he takes them to a local bar. At the bar, they have a conversation, but Sutter's dad leaves with a woman and asks Sutter if he can pay the tab, and that he will meet back with them later. It's shown how Sutter's dad doesn't care about him, but if you needed confirmation, you get it when Sutter and Amy are later waiting for Sutter's dad, but the dad never arrives, so Sutter returns to the bar only to see his dad with his friends drinking. This was all the confirmation Sutter needed to realize his dad doesn't care about him. On their way home, Amy tries comforting Sutter, but he's mad and drunk, so he snaps at her and almost causes them to crash. Sutter, still mad, begins telling Amy he feels bad for her and to get out of the car, so Amy gets out, but once outside, she gets hit by a car. Amy is okay though. She just ends up having a broken arm and somehow forgives Sutter. Their graduation arrives, and once the ceremony is over, Sutter speaks to Amy, then speaks with Cassidy. Cassidy tells him she's moving to California with her new boyfriend, but that Sutter will always be her best ex-boyfriend.
You'll always be my favorite ex-boyfriend.
Later, while he's at work, Sutter's boss speaks with him and says he can only afford one employee and wants Sutter to be the one he keeps, but that he needs him to stop coming in drunk. Sutter is brutally honest and says he can't guarantee that, so he quits.
Thanks for the opportunity. Yeah, thank you. I suppose if I was your father, this is where I might give you a lecture or something, about what you're doing to yourself.
He then drives past Amy, who's waiting for him by the bus to Philadelphia. Since he never arrives, Amy leaves to Philly heartbroken. Sutter ends up in a bar, gets drunk, then drives home and runs over his own mailbox. Him and his mom begin arguing, and Sutter lets out his feelings, but his mom assures him he's not his father. Sutter feels better and sends in his college application. It's past the deadline already, but Sutter doesn't care. It just matters that he finished and sent it. In it, he confesses his biggest hardship is himself and always wanting to live in the moment. He then drives to Philadelphia and finds Amy as she's leaving class. They make eye contact, and Amy ambivalently smiles. The scene then cuts and the movie ends. The Spectacular Now originally released in 4 theaters and made $197,000. Then in its wide release, it was in 770 theaters and made $6.9 million. This movie isn't your regular coming-of-age story, but that's what makes it unique and great. Sutter is living so in the moment that he thinks because he's the spark of every party and has a beautiful, popular girlfriend that he's set for the rest of his life, but Cassidy breaks up with him. She sees there's no future for them, and although she loves him, she has to think about her future. Sutter is heartbroken, and he only begins taking Aimee serious after Cassidy confirms she's not getting back together with him. That may sound like pity, but Sutter begins actually falling for Aimee, and you can see the exact moment he begins liking her for real. Sutter, Aimee, and even Cassidy feel like real high school students trying to navigate life. When meeting his dad goes wrong, Sutter takes it out on Aimee to the point where he kicks her out his car, and this is realistic. Their relationship isn't a cookie-cutter picture-perfect one. Sutter knows he should go with Aimee to Philadelphia, but he's too scared to do it and can't let go of the past. Aimee has to leave alone and Sutter stays behind alone. It isn't until later where he changes his life on his own and goes to find Aimee, but when they see each other it's pretty ambiguous. Aimee ambivalently smiles when seeing Sutter, then it ends. You don't know what happens next. We're not sure if Aimee is mad at him and ignores Sutter, or if she talks to Sutter, then leading to Sutter moving to Philadelphia with her. This isn't a happy ever-after movie. Sutter does change for the better, but you don't know what's the destiny of Sutter and Aimee, yet it's still amazing. It's a good love story and not your conventional boy falls for girl, girl falls for boy movie. Calling it A24's best movie may be a reach, but it's not really a reach. It's not over-dramatic, doesn't insist upon the A24 trope, and the cast with the acting is great. There's never any filler scenes and is entertaining all the way through. I remember seeing this movie when it released, and even then I knew it would stand the test of time. When films like Fault in Our Stars and later Paper Towns came out, I enjoyed them, but none of them topped The Spectacular Now. I only like The Fault in Our Stars because of Shailene Woodley, but it's no match to a film like The Spectacular Now.